Hi everybody, this is Angie from Tourangie.com. I am on Route 19 in Bluefield, Virginia right now. It's going to join up with 460 here in just a couple minutes. And this little video is, well, we'll just say it's a little bit different than my normal thing. But if you've been around and watched my videos for a while, you know I tend to go through cemeteries. So that is what we're doing. We're going to go through Grandview Cemetery. Was it called Grandview Memory Gardens? Grandview Memory Gardens. It's hard for me to remember that one. So I always just called it Grandview Cemetery. But anyway, that's where we're heading to. I have a little bit of information, but it's a beautiful cemetery. I love how all of it is basically flat. There are no headstones peeping out of the ground. It's all flat. Usually there's flowers all around, and it's very well kept. I would say it is probably the best kept cemetery in the area. Um, I have had huge fusses in the past with cemeteries, like the cemetery my dad and my grandparents are buried in. I'm not going to go into any more details on that, but it is not well kept. There's just all kinds of issues all the time. So I'm always pleased to see this cemetery. It is always nice, well kept, looks good. So we're going to go through Grandview. I'm sure everybody that watches this video or is from this area has or knows somebody that's buried in the cemetery, whether it's family or friends. But it's it's quite beautiful. So let's see. We're about to turn in right up here, and I'm going to talk to you about the cemetery, a little bit about it, and a little funny story I have about myself with the cemetery. So first things first, cemetery is set on 46 acres. It's a huge cemetery, really, and it opened in 1957. There is a beautiful chapel mausoleum, and it was constructed in 1985. And there are features throughout the cemetery, uh, inspirational mural carvings that depict Jesus Christ. And a lot of cemeteries have different features throughout. But this one, it definitely has a religious theme to it. Um, Faith, devotion, cross, everlasting life. And then the Sermon on the Mount is prevalent here in this cemetery. One of the things that I'll tell you, it's kind of, well, it's funny, but I was a child, so it is what it is. I do have a family member that is buried out here, and it was my grandmother on my dad's side. And one of my biggest memories is remembering the day of the funeral. But the other memory that I have being out here in the cemetery was after the burial and everything. It was just like a visit to the grave. And I was a kid, and I just, well, what do kids do? They play. They don't pay attention. Well, what do? I lay down on the um well, I guess the hill, like this right here, and I just start rolling all the way down the hill. And I got fussed at for rolling down the hill. But that stuck in my memory as, oh, I got fussed at the cemetery because I rolled down the hill. That's just something that stuck in my mind. Anyway, I know it's a stupid little story, but I thought I'd share since, driving through the cemetery, memories come back, and that's one of the memories that comes back to me. So, but I've only been in this cemetery just a few times. Like I said, my grandmother from my dad's side was buried here, and then just a few little visits. And that one in particular, where me rolling down the hill and getting fussed at, just sticks out in my mind. So anyway, there's a little random fact. But I bet I'm not the only one. I bet there's been many kids just decide to start rolling down these hills here in this cemetery in particular. So you're getting to see some pretty views. There's, times when we're up here on this hill that you've got a pretty good view of East River Mountain and different things. The sky is beautiful, the clouds. We're now driving towards, I guess it's the mausoleum. We're going to do a little bit of a circle down here just around a few markers that are basically like in a roundabout in the middle of the road kind of thing. It's a little roundabout right down here. We'll be going to that here in just a second. One thing I always do when I'm researching stuff for these videos that I make is I always go through Newspaper Archive online and I search. And even though this place opened in 1957, I'm sure there were burials in 1957. The first burial that was put in the Bluefield Daily Telegraph back then was actually April 10th of 1958, and it was Nanny M. Cole, Miss Nanny M. Cole. She was 68 of North Tazewell, Virginia, and her wake was at 1 p.m. April 10th at the Baptist Valley Church of Christ, and then her internment happened here at Grandview Memorial Cemetery. So I thought that was neat. I would mention the first name that I could find that was buried here that was posted in the newspaper. So I figured I would just put that in there. I know that's kind of odd, but why not talk about it? Well, we've been driving around. You've seen, look at that. That's still a pretty decent view. I mean, yeah, there's some trees in the way, but you're seeing East River Mountain stuff. It's just a beautiful cemetery. Another thing I'll mention is September 18th, 2025, at the Crab Orchard Museum. Uh, Grandview is holding an event, a burial and cremation planning seminar. Thought that was pretty interesting. I figured since I'm playing around on the website and finding different things, I'd mention it. Uh, Obviously, their website is affiliated with Dignity Memorial. And something I learned that I did not have a clue about is, of course, there's a variety of ways that you could well, with your cremation or whatever. But there are a couple things I had no clue that could be done. And I'm going to read one of them for you right now. It's cremation options. I was totally shocked about this. If you would like to be cremated and put in the Atlantic Ocean, yes, that's something that can be done, obviously. Now you're thinking, okay, yeah, be thrown into the ocean, the ashes just be thrown. No, this is something totally different. It's called Neptune Memorial Reef. And basically, your ashes are deposited uh, in a reef system. It's 3.25 miles off of Key Biscayne from Miami, Florida. It's built as an artistic interpretation of the lost city of Atlantis, and it's a memorial site. So those who choose cremation may opt for their ashes to be deployed to the reef, creating life after life. I thought that was really interesting. I've heard a lot of different things with cremations, turning your ashes into like a seed pot that grows a plant and different things. But that one was something I had never heard of and I found on their website. So I thought, well, since I needed something to talk about, I would mention it. There's also the Celestis Memorial Space Flight, where you can have your ashes uh, basically go into space. That's very interesting. Um, Never thought that. I never heard anything about that, but it's been going on since about 1984 or 1994. So that's an interesting thing too. Well, anyway, that's the end of this video basically. You've seen me leave and go down Route 460 towards Tazewell and turn around real quick to head back to Bluefield, Virginia. So that is basically about all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, at least got to see some pretty views. Or actually now you're seeing me turn around. I was heading to Tazewell, now I'm turning around. But I hope you got to see some pretty views. I learned maybe a little bit about the cemetery. It is a pretty cemetery. And I tend to visit all these cemeteries in the area. It's just something I've been doing since I've started making these videos. So this is Angie from Tourangie.com. Come to my website, read my blogs, make appointments so I can help you plan your next travel adventure. And I'm sure I will hit a few more cemeteries uh, on my drives too. Talk to you all later.